Yo, what's up everyone and welcome back. Today we're talking about the Real Housewives of Orange County Season 17 Episode 12. I am loving Orange County. I'm actually looking forward to it every week. So those who aren't watching it, y'all are missing out. So opening scene is Heather Dubrow. Terry is arriving from work, and then two realtor agents come to visit them. They say that this sale that they're about to make in their home with them is going to be the third highest sale in the history of Orange County. That's crazy. They do need to move out in 3 weeks, so they need to get to packing, but they haven't officially closed. So the two agents leave and say that once that happens, they'll celebrate. So Terry and Heather are just there talking, but then there's some whispers in the hall with the producers or something's going on, and then the two agents come back and say it's official. They just signed. The home officially sold for $55 million for this house. That's, you guys, they were so happy. So they bring out the glasses, the champagne, they're cheering and drinking. I loved seeing this scene. I'm not a fan of Heather Dubrow, but there's something about seeing ultra rich people doing their thing. It's super cool, so I like that. So then Taylor FaceTimes all the women to invite them to a fall party that she's going to be having. It's the beginning of fall, so why not celebrate that? So she does that. The next scene is Emily shopping for motorcycles. Apparently she wants one for herself. I didn't know she was into that. Gina is there with her. She's a little bit concerned about that motorcycle, as am I. I think motorcycles are cool, but I'm never riding one. It's one thing for it to be cool, but for me to actually get on it and go on the road, no. Okay, but then Gina tells Emily what Jen told her. What was said at the party, which was that Shannon said that CPS didn't take Gina's kids thanks to her. She's very upset, and Emily says, listen, I just don't think Shannon likes you, plain and simple. But this is bothering Gina very much, and Emily says that is not okay to say. So the next scene is Shannon and John. I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable even seeing them. I don't want Shannon screaming at me for seeing them. I don't want her to blame me talking about her relationship. But okay, they're in the kitchen, playing with each other. And then Tamra comes to her house and John leaves. So it's just the two of them. They talk about the party and how is she going to move forward with Heather? Tamra asks, and she says she doesn't know. But then, this is a weird thing. Shannon starts to voice some issues with John to Tamra on camera. That they don't spend enough time together. He doesn't stay overnight. He always has to go. Something's always coming up with his daughters. And he doesn't seem too open about the idea of marriage. But she says, however, that's none of Heather Dubrow, Emily Simpson, or Gina, whatever her last name's business is, which I get that, but I still don't. I love Shannon, don't get me wrong, but I think she has a little bit hard time understanding that what she's complaining about them talking about, she just did it with Tamra. But moving along, Jen and her boyfriend Ryan are working out, which I love a couple that works out together, and then they go take a shower, and then he drops a big question: when are we gonna get married? And I think she's so happy with what they have. And there is a fear that if it were to be official, a commitment, if they were tied, it would then lead him to cheat or stray. And she says that she doesn't want anyone to come between them. And he says, can you stop saying that? No one has ever come between us. But apparently it sort of did happen. When they were dating at the beginning, they took a break. So a lot of people do, he went to go hook up with someone else during that break. But he wants her to forget that, and she says that she just doesn't want... She went through such a horrible divorce, she doesn't even want the idea of that happening ever again. The next scene is Tamra and Eddie at the gym, and she's gossiping about Heather. There are some rumors floating around that Terry cheated on her, which Tamra doesn't necessarily believe, but she's making fun about Heather, who recently was posing for some pictures with Terry with like their arms all wrapped around each other, pretending that there wasn't a camera there, or pretending that they didn't know a camera was there. So she's thinking that she planned this. She also talks to Eddie about them not having as much action in the bedroom. The next scene we see is Shannon and Heather. They go to a lunch together and they get right into it. Shannon is hurt that they've been saying that Heather is the one bringing up her relationship. So Heather says, well, Tamra hasn't been necessarily quiet about your relationship. But Shannon is making it clear that it's not okay for her to be discussing this. So Heather starts to apologize. She pauses and takes a deep breath and pretends to cry, which Shannon in her confessional says, how many times did you practice that? Maybe you should put this lunch in your IMDb. But for now, it seems okay. Shannon told her how she felt and Heather apologized. So hopefully it will stop for now. So it's a new day and it's time for Taylor's fall pumpkin party. Tamra is riding with Jen and she then gets a call from the Nat, Teddy Mellencamp, her co-host. But she finally did something right. She found out that the paparazzi doesn't come to Orange County. You have to call them, referring to Heather and Terry. And then fall, you guys, I love this party because fall is probably one of my favorite seasons. I love everything pumpkin spice and whatever. So that looked like a really fun party. And the first activity that they have is they have to go pick up some real pumpkins. They were like at this beautiful field, like a patch with a bunch of pumpkins. And once they got them, go to carve them. As they're doing that, Emily walks up to Jen and says, hey Jen, can you tell me what Shannon said about Gina and CPS? Which she thinks crossed the line. And then Gina approaches Tamra to ask her about it because Tamra was there, but Tamra says she doesn't remember hearing that. Shannon finally arrives to the party pretty late. She was the last one. She had to get some injection or some IV, I don't know, but she's there now just in time to start carving. They actually had an instructor there to show them how to do it, so they were having fun doing that. And Shannon is sitting next to Tamra. So then Shannon whispers to her ear and says, well, this is awkward. Half of these people weren't at my party. And then Tamra whispers back to give her a heads up and says, before you came, Gina told me that Jen told her that you said CPS was coming for her kids. So then Shannon says out loud, hey Jen, you said CPS was coming for Gina? That I said that? I would never say that. Did she say it? Yes, she did, but she's claiming she didn't, so Jen had to say, wait a minute, you said this, and this. Gina gets upset and says whether she said it or not, it was not true. CPS was never going to come get her kids. It was just a DUI. She's claiming that's not a reason for CPS to come get your kids. So Gina is screaming, then Emily is screaming. Shannon is having some sort of like borderline panic attack. Gina clears up that, you know what, she respects Shannon enough not to talk about her relationship, but to go back to the dress-up party, Shannon did hear Gina talk about it, so it is just, okay, at this point it's getting a little bit draining about the who said this, who didn't say about the relationship, like enough. And Shannon says that she's never talked about Travis or the things that she has heard. But then Tamra throws her under the bus because Shannon said that he had a small, you know what, which I'm sure she was joking. I don't know why Tamra brought that up to the group. They are able to talk about it, Gina and Shannon, and they both agree to stop. And then the group proceeds to lunch. And Tamra just can't help herself. So she says to Heather, Teddy and I have a podcast, and Teddy went pretty hard on you with your faked planned photos. And Heather gets very upset. She says, you might think that when there's smoke, there's fire. But sometimes when there's fire, there's arsenal. It is not true, this and that. Tamra says, I don't think it's true. There is just no paparazzi in Disneyland. Heather got really angry, so she didn't even feel at that point to be in the mood to share what happened with the house and that it was sold. Shannon randomly says that she has to go, so she says goodbye. And once she leaves, they do talk a little bit about her. But that's where the episode ended. Like I said, really good season. This is really entertaining. So next week, the cast is heading for their season trip, which is in Mexico. And that's going to be pretty explosive as well. Emily's going to turn against Heather, which is going to be really interesting. Like I said, this season has been really great, so I don't want it to end, but the reunion is filming soon, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see that. But you guys, as far as this episode, what are you guys' thoughts about what happened? What do you think about what Shannon said? What do you think about what Gina said? Just anything you want to tell me, please let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. You'll have a great one. Bye.